Hyundai's just released the full packaging and pricing guide for the 2026 Hyundai Tucson gas, hybrid, and plug-in hybrid. And just like that of the all-new Palisade, there were some last-minute changes to the trim levels available and the features within, and some interesting notes in terms of pricing. So if you've seen the video that I put out just a couple months ago here on the channel regarding the 2026 Tucson changes, then you'll probably want to watch this video through its entirety because there are some last minute tweaks and changes to not only the trim names and the packaging within each trim level, albeit not nearly as much as the all new Palisade. But nonetheless, I'm going to run through all of the trim levels, the changes in comparison to that of how they were equipped in 2025. And then of course, we will get into the exact pricing information and some of the interesting factors to see there, as well as how the pricing has changed from that of last year. So starting out with the trim levels and the powertrains, the 2026 Tucson gas or ICE will be available in the SE, SEL, XRT, SEL Premium, and Limited trim levels, where the SEL Premium now replaces the former SEL Convenience. So there's no more SEL Convenience, and in fact, the XRT and the SEL Premium are now not priced equally, where the XRT is going to be slightly cheaper than that of the SEL Premium, where the XRT and SEL Convenience last year were identically priced, although the equipment was not the same between them, and that stays true where the equipment is going to be different. Now moving on to the hybrid, it's going to be available in the new Blue SE Hybrid, SEL, SEL Convenience, and Limited. So the SEL Convenience does remain on the hybrid, but not the gas. Just to confuse you guys a little bit more, Hyundai is pretty good at doing that. And then moving on to plug-in hybrid, we have the same two, SEL and Limited, in that powertrain. Moving on to the trim levels and how features have either gained or gone away for 2026 compared to 25. Starting out with the base entry-level gas SE, it is gaining the 2,750 pound towing capacity, which is standard across every gas Tucson. They're raising it from 2,000 pounds up to 2,750, so you're gaining an extra 750 pounds with trailer brakes applied. This is not the number without trailer brakes. I think that actually stayed the same, but that is the only feature that is being added to the SE. And in terms of features lost, this applies to every 2026 Hyundai Tucson or 2026 model year Hyundai vehicle. And as the complimentary included maintenance is no longer going to be offered as included with the MSRP of the vehicle. So you can count that as a feature if you want, but that does apply to every 26 Hyundai vehicle. Moving on to SEL, again, gains the larger towing capacity, and then it loses wireless charging and digital key 2.0 premium. Really unfortunate that you're only getting the basic proximity entry on the SEL rather than digital key. But if you want that feature, you now will have to jump all the way up to the SEL Premium or higher to get that. Moving on to XRT, 2750 towing capacity gets a new terrain mode, which is, I believe, applicable only maybe to the all-wheel drive iteration of XRT. But anyway, it gets that, and then it also loses the wireless charging pad and digital key 2.0 Premium. And then moving on to the SEL Premium, formerly SEL Convenience, it is not gaining or removing any features for the gas trim level specifically, so identically equipped, just a new name. However, it does say it is gaining selected digital mobility features available for an additional charge, likely included with the Blue Link subscription service after that is updated. So not sure if that's actually going to be new or rolled out over the air as a software update to 2025 models too, but that was noted as an additional feature. No features lost. And then moving on to Limited, same larger towing capacity, same digital mobility features available, and is losing the fingerprint recognition on the left side of the steering wheel and the dash for your Hyundai digital profiles and the engine start capability. So if you want a fingerprint sensor on the Limited, do go ahead and get a 2025 model now while they are available, because that will not be found on any 2026 Hyundai Tucson. Moving on to hybrid, the standard base Blue SE is an all-new trim level based upon the SE Gas Tucson. For the most part, they're going to be the same. I think the SE gets the column-mounted gear shift as standard, as every hybrid typically gets that interior layout with the floating center console and a little bit more space just to give it a little bit more functionality, I assume. The SEL Hybrid gains the 18-inch wheels from the former 17-inch wheels that are standard now on that base Blue SE trim level. It is also losing wireless charging and digital key 2.0 Premium on the hybrid side of things. I know that kind of sucks, but that is the way that Hyundai is doing that. Moving on to the SEL convenience, it's not gaining any additional features, and in fact, this is the one configuration that is losing a bunch of features, such as the forward attention warning camera, panoramic sunroof, and in fact, the updated pricing guide now mentions no sunroof at all on the SEL convenience hybrid. I'm not sure 100% if that is going to be the case or if it is going to be the smaller conventional sunroof, but I'm leaning towards that the SEL convenience will no longer have a sunroof at all. So if you're looking for a sunroof, the panoramic type and the hybrid, you will have to opt all the way up to a limited, given that the N-Line variant has also been discontinued moving into 2026. It's also losing Digital Key 2.0 Premium, built-in navigation, over-the-air map updates in Hyundai Pay, Highway Drive Assist 1, and Smart Cruise Control 2. So it just has the basic driver assist suite from Hyundai, which still is pretty darn good. I have to admit, lane follow assist, the regular Smart Cruise Control basic version is a little bit of a bummer, but this has been reflected in the MSRP of the vehicle, which we'll touch on here in just a minute or two. Moving on to the limited hybrid, selected digital mobility features available, and it is also losing the fingerprint reader for your digital profiles and engine start. Lastly, moving on to the plug-in hybrid, we have a new dual voltage ICCB charge cable that is standard on every plug-in hybrid, both the SEL and Limited. So that replaces the 120 volt standard charger that came with these vehicles prior. So you will be able to take advantage of both level 1 and level 2 charging with this included cable with the purchase of that vehicle. And the SEL plug-in hybrid features going away are, again, wireless charging and Digital Key 2.0 Premium. And finally, moving on to the limited plug-in hybrid, we have that new dual voltage cable as well as the selected digital mobility features, and the features going away, you guys probably guessed it, fingerprint recognition on the dashboard. So that is basically going to be it for all of the trim level changes and everything like that for the trim lineup. Now getting into the pricing information, which is the new information released as of today. So starting out with the SE front wheel drive pricing, all of these will be front wheel drive unless otherwise noted. All wheel drive is an extra $1,500 for all gas Tucsons, as the hybrid and plug-in hybrid comes standard with all wheel drive. But the cheapest entry level SE front wheel drive, including destination, is now $30,695, which is an increase of $945. SEL front wheel drive is $32,045, increase of $435. XRT front wheel drive is now cheaper than that of the former SEL convenience, now SEL Premium, at $34,720, or an increase of $660. SEL Premium front wheel drive is $35,045, increase of $985. And finally, the limited front wheel drive comes in at $40,670, now exceeding the $40,000 mark for every limited Tucson, which is an increase of $980 from that of 2025. Now, like I said, add $1,500 for all-wheel drive to any of those prices to get those starting MSRPs. And then moving on to the hybrid side of things, the base blue SE hybrid all-wheel drive now comes in at $33,695. The SEL hybrid is $35,145, increase of $535. SEL convenience hybrid is $36,145, and this is the big decrease of all Tucsons, and the only decrease of $1,465 less than that of 2025, because again, it is losing a lot of features. Limited hybrid is $43,320, or an increase of $880. And then SEL plug-in hybrid, $41,570, and limited plug-in hybrid is $49,795. You can see there's an increase of about $695 for SEL and $1,210 for the limited plug-in hybrid. So that is nearly a $50,000 Tucson plug-in hybrid. In fact, with additional accessories and add-ons, you'll probably be over $50,000 for a limited plug-in hybrid in just about every actual spec on dealership lots via the MSRP on the window sticker. So you can see here, most of the increases, actually just, most of the Tucsons did increase in price, which is not unexpected year over year. But luckily, we did have that one configuration of hybrid that is decreasing in MSRP, likely because those features and options are being removed, which makes the vehicle slightly cheaper to produce. However, we do have the tariff situation, which is ongoing. I believe as of recently, US and Korea have now agreed to a roughly 15% tariff, which means, vehicles built in Korea, imported in the US are facing that new lower negotiated amount, which I assume will be the 2026 Tucson moving forward, given these have just entered production, I believe, very recently. And then, of course, all the gas Tucsons, to my knowledge, will likely be produced here in Montgomery, Alabama. So Hyundai does not have to pay the increased tariff price on the final value of the vehicle like they will with the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid Tucsons. But just some opinions and notes on this information is there's only a 1,000 difference between the SEL hybrid and the SEL convenience hybrid, and you're still getting a fair amount of additional equipment. So I think, honestly, if you're looking at a hybrid between the SEL and the SEL convenience, the SEL convenience is a no-brainer for just an additional $1,000. You get things like the H-Tex interior, the nicer digital gauge cluster, 12.3 inch in size, and then a handful of other things. I think you get LED taillights and stuff like that. And then honestly, one other big item that I really wanted to focus on, given these reductions and increases, is now between the SEL convenience and the limited hybrid, there is over a $7,000 price difference between these two trim levels. So to go from the second highest to the highest equipped Tucson, you're now having to spend $7,175 more, which is like $2,100 to $2,200 more than it was last year, because again, one went down in price, it lost a handful of features, one went up in price, didn't really gain any features, and that means there's just a $7,100 spread between these two, which is a ton of money. It'll be interesting to see, how this ultimately plays out. So I think that is basically going to do it here for this video and the latest packaging and pricing information for the 2026 Hyundai Tucson. If you guys enjoyed this video and or found something helpful, make sure to hit that like button below, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And as always, like I said, they are losing the complimentary maintenance across every 2026 Hyundai vehicle. So if you're looking at 2025 versus 2026 right now on dealership lots, you do have that additional incentive, not factoring in any of the pricing increases or things like that. So every 25 still has it, 26s will not. But let me know, like I said, what you guys think down in the comment section below. I believe these vehicles will start to be available over the coming, I would say, roughly 2 months or so. The US built cars might show up a little bit sooner than that of the hybrids, but we'll have to see how imports and everything go. They have been steadily importing Palisades at port and now, of course, shipping them to dealerships. But unfortunately, I still have not seen them in person because my local dealership is getting a little bit of the short end of the stick and not having any new Palisades on the lot just yet. But make sure you guys stay tuned for that content coming hopefully in the next 7 days or so. And with all that being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.